session, we are seeing the fresh breakout for the USDJPY, and after the release of inflation data for the United States, we have this fresh move on the higher side, and it looks increasingly likely that we can expect the USDJPY to go on to rise towards even the 110 mark. So in this session of market movers, we will be looking at the technical formations and what are the price levels which can provide us the optimum trading opportunities. Before we go into the technical details, we will consider the trading context for the day. On the data docket, we had plenty of data releases for major economies around the world. Earlier in the day, we got the industrial production numbers for the Euro area, and the industrial production is showing robust rise there. We have the growth of 10.9% in terms of year on year for the month of March. We also got slew of data releases for the UK, and the major takeaway is that the UK's economy is doing quite well, and we can expect this sustained expansion to uh, even get better in coming months. Moving on to the US session, we had these inflation numbers, and the inflation numbers are quite robust to say the least. And for the month of April, these are now at 4.2%, and this has been the major theme for the US session. We have widespread impact of these release, and the equities have taken a beating, whereas the USD is flying high against its most of the major currency peers. And of course, we are going to consider the USD JPY for the trading opportunities. On the commodity side, just a while back we got EIA's WTI crude oil inventory data, and here for the week ended 7th of May, we are seeing that the drawdown is of around 0.427 million barrels, which is on the lower side compared to the reading which we got last night from API, where we had the drawdown of 2.5 million barrels. But even on the lower side, I think we are not likely to see any change in the price trajectory for the WTI crude, and we can expect in coming days the price levels of $70 per barrel can be reached. So the bullish tendency for the light crude oil is likely to prevail, and the opportunities, if any, are going to be on the buy side. Now let's shift our attention to the technical segment. First, we will cover the USD JPY, and then we will also be looking into the trading opportunities emerging in the DAX, which is the equity index for the Germany. And since we are now nearing the close of the European session, I won't really be talking about the immediate trading opportunity. We will see how the formation is now, and by the time we come back for the trading once the European session starts tomorrow, what are the levels which we can keep in mind and go over the trading opportunities emerging then and there. Let's start with the USDJPY's technical outlook. This is the daily time frame chart, and here this long bar is mainly being driven by the higher inflation. We had this consolidation happening below the 109 level for last couple of sessions, and I had talked about the possibility of USD JPY inching on the lower side and even going on to touch 108 couple of sessions back, but that didn't really materialize. We had this bearish momentum, but on the lower side, the USD JPY found support closer to the 108.4 level and rebounded from there on. And in today's session, it was earlier in the day, it was slightly sideways with a bearish undertone, but that has now changed once we got these higher inflation numbers. And I think this is going to be the major driving factor for the USDJPY moving forward, as we can expect the USD to climb higher against most of its major currency peers, given the differential in the inflation in US and other economies of the world. Even if we consider the Japan and the Euro area, the inflation is yet to become a major concern there, and US might be forced to move early on the prospect of raising rates, and that is the reason why we are seeing the USD flying higher. So if we have to consider some of the levels, I would say that this central pivot point, which is there around 109.2, is going to be a crucial marker. And we had this consolidation taking place below it, but now that we have the fresh breakout on the higher side, you can utilize this as a price area to keep in mind, and any trading opportunity where you get the entry point closer to this central pivot point is going to give you the least risk while opening up the vistas for a higher reward on the higher side. We can expect in due course of time the USDJPY to get closer to the immediate swing high, which is there around 109.6, and if you consider the next target is quite far away. We have this first resistance, which is almost 200 pips away from the current level. So we do have the room on the higher side for the USD JPY. And if this momentum sustains, we can of course expect in due course of time the USD JPY to get closer to this level also. And even if we are not really looking for the swing trading opportunities, and if you are purely concerned with the intraday trades, in today's session, it is going to be a difficult call to go for the new trades. But if we see some sort of consolidation in the latter part of the day, and maybe after consolidation tomorrow, if we have the opportunities where the USDJPY is holding above the central pivot point, then I think we can try to look for initiation of the new trade, and the stop loss and the target price can be fixed as per this SMA formation. We had this 200 SMA which was capping the price for USD in last couple of sessions. So we had these two occasions where the USD got closer to 8, and then it moved on the lower side. Even in today's session, we had this rise and then this sideways momentum with a bearish undertone. And as I said, all that has now changed. And now that we have the breakout above this prior swing high, we can use this very level as a area of interest. We have this price band around 109 to 109.10, which is going to act as a support in near term. We can't really be 100% sure, but the probability looks fairly good that if we have some sort of correction taking place and then do consolidation where the USDJPY doesn't really break below this support area, then I think we can look for initiation of the trade while keeping the stop loss anywhere closer to this today's low, which is there around 108.7. So see how it goes in today's session, and then whenever we have the next correction and consolidation, if you are fortunate enough to get the entry in this price band, I think that is going to be a excellent opportunity to try to go for the long trade in USDJPY while targeting the prior swing high or even beyond that for the USDJPY's target price. Now moving on to the DAX technical outlook. This is the daily time frame chart, and here the DAX has been consolidating for almost a month and a half, and on the higher side we have the DAX price move capped around 15,500. This time around also it got closer to this all-time high, and from there on the reversal has been fairly sharp. And in today's session, now that we have the higher inflation data for the US, the Dow and other equity indices are also reeling lower. And I think some of that effect can be expected to keep the upward price momentum of the DAX capped. And as I said, we have these 2 days of price declines. Though today's session, we are not really experiencing any sell-off, but I think moving forward, we can expect the DAX to find it pretty high to continue its upward momentum, and some correction can't be ruled out. So we will be here looking for any trading opportunity where we can look for short sell trade. So if you want to go for any trade in the DAX, I think this central pivot point, which is there around 15,200, can be utilized as a area of interest. We have these prior consolidation phase price formation, and if you consider the immediate swing high, it is not really far off. And if we consider the price formation in the session today, the gains have been kept closer to these central pivot point. So if we have the closing below this level, and if we get the consolidation anywhere in this price area, I think by the time we come back for trading tomorrow, we will have a excellent formation in place. And if we see any kind of fresh move on the lower side creeping in tomorrow's session, that will be the time to look for the initiation of the new trade. And if we consider these technical factors, both the regression curve as well as pivot point series, both are pointing on the lower side. We have this regression curve, which is now inclined on the bearish side, and of course, the central pivot point is also likely to act as a resistance for the DAX. And unless and until we have the fresh breakout on the higher side, we can continue to use this price zone of around 15,200 as a decisive marker. So if you are looking for any trading opportunity, I think the convergence of these 50, 100 and 200 SMAs, which are there converging closer to the 15,200 area, can be utilized as a optimum price point for the initiation of the new trade, while keeping the stop loss just a little above this 200 100 SMA. I think the stop loss anywhere around 15,300 should be good enough. So if you want to go for the trade right now, not be the best of time, but once we have the European station started tomorrow, then after that, if we get any sense of the bearishness creeping back, I think this is the price area in between the 15,200 to 15,150 on the lower side to get involved for the new trade, while expecting the move toward this immediate swing low. So we have the possibility of more than 2 percentage point move on the lower side, and the risk is not going to be that high. At the max, it is going to be of close to 1 percentage point, and that is going to get the risk reward ratio of 1 is to 2. So I think that should be good enough for the short term trade. And with this, the session is also coming to an end. If you have any query or any idea to share, you can write to me in the feedback section, and I would be more than happy to take the discussion forward. Before I sign off, I would also like to remind of the risk associated with trading in the financial instrument, and one should be careful while using the information provided. Thank you all for joining in. Do subscribe to the Discuss Webinar channel to stay updated on the market developments. See you next time. Till then, goodbye.